Hi Leo, welcome back to my channel. I'm doing your love reading for the week ahead and I've already pulled the oracle cards, so we'll get straight into it. First one we have here is yin, but it's in the reverse. So it's kind of like maybe that you need to open your heart, but also like still protect your peace. Normally yin in the upright is kind of, about receptivity and allowing and intuition and like feminine energy, letting love flow naturally, all of that stuff. But in reverse, I usually read the protection message for that, and that's usually about like not overgiving your energy to someone who's maybe like only meeting you halfway, or like, to stop waiting indefinitely for someone to kind of choose you, or to become like emotionally available or something. It could be about like protecting your heart and keeping your boundaries type of thing. If you feel like you've been constantly chasing or analyzing or kind of, I don't know, just carrying some sort of emotional weight of the connection, then it's kind of, encouraging you to kind of take a step back. You guys, Leo, you love deeply and very generously, so it could be just a reminder, like, not to kind of confuse like some sort of like unconditional love with self-sacrifice. There should be equal give and take in every situation. Then we have the supermoon, and it says that the emotions are running high. So this is maybe about a situation that could be quite intense, so there's either, depending on where you are in your relationship obviously, but like maybe there's a heightened attraction or a longing, or maybe just unresolved feelings, or just some sort of emotional conversations that's coming up. And this card, isn't telling you to kind of not speak about your emotions. It's more just saying like maybe control your actions. So, like obviously feel everything that you feel, but just don't make kind of any permanent decisions right now. Maybe if there's like some sort of emotional intensity that's happening at the moment. And obviously this with the yin and the reverse, it's kind of like, don't let the heightened emotions override your intuition or your boundaries, and then we have Beaver Spirit, and this is about laying a solid foundation, is what it says. So, instead of kind of focusing on whether someone comes back or reaches out or, makes some sort of grand gesture, it's kind of just saying, does this relationship have trust? Like the foundations, is it consistent? Is there mutual effort between the two of you? Could you actually, see long-term partnership with this person, and genuinely with their actions, not with your, your hopes on what they will become? Because, with love, it's, obviously chemistry is a big important factor, but it's also about reliability. And basically the Beaver Spirit is just kind of asking you to invest in relationships where like the actions kind of match the words. So let's get some tarot for you. I'm going to pull all of these with the oracle cards, so if you don't want to see it, just skip ahead. I might actually start just pulling them out beforehand, just to save time for the viewing. Okay, so how do you feel about your person? We have the Four of Wands. How do they feel about you? We have the Wheel of Fortune. How do they see Leo? We have the Ace of Wands, but it came out also on its side. So it could be, a little bit of both. And then what are their intentions? We have the Moon. Next actions, King of Pentacles. What's the blockage or the challenge this week? Okay, we have the Page of Swords, and then what is the outcome? We have the Page of Cups, and what is the advice? We have the Ten of Pentacles. Okay, then let's get some clarifiers for you, Leo. Okay, so what is the Four of Wands? We have the Magician in the reverse. What is the Wheel of Fortune? We have Strength. Okay. What is the Ace of Wands? We have the High Priestess. What is the Moon? We have the Tower. That's the King of Pentacles. We have Temperance, a lot of major arcana coming out here. Wow. What's the Page of Swords? We have the Three of Wands. What's the Page of Cups? Okay, we have the Ace of Wands. And then what is the Ten of Pentacles? We have Judgment. Okay. Oops. So we have, I'm just going to call out all the energies first. So we have Aries, we have Leo, we have Cancer, Scorpio, Sagittarius, more Scorpio. We've got all the water signs, all the air signs, all the earth signs, more Pisces, or actually Pisces in general. And then we have the Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius with the Wheel of Fortune. Now, it doesn't have to be a sign, just, you know, calling them out that that's the energies that are there. So your feelings at the moment, Leo, are very meaningful for this person, right? You could see like that there's a potential for stability between the two of you and happiness and building something very meaningful. The Four of Wands is kind of like one of the strongest relationship cards in the deck. So, you know, you definitely see them as possible long-term potential. And then the Magician reverse is kind of showing that maybe you're struggling to express those feelings or maybe act on those feelings at the moment. And you could just feel like, you know, that you don't know how to make things happen, or maybe that there's something that's stopping you from like bringing this connection into reality. So your feelings are definitely there, but it's maybe a bit difficult kind of like translating those feelings into action at the moment. And then we have the Wheel of Fortune and the Strength card as their feelings. So, you know, it's kind of, they're evolving, I guess, their feelings at the moment. And it's kind of that they just feel like either the connection has changed them, or that there's some sort of events that are kind of unfolding that's beyond their control. And with Strength there, it's kind of showing that they're trying to approach it with like patience and compassion, or emotional restraint. That's your card, Leo. And they're trying just not to react impulsively, or, you know, maybe they're just trying to manage their emotions and just allow things to, like, I don't know, develop over time. How they see you at the moment is the Ace of Wands and the High Priestess. So they see you as someone, firstly, that they're very attracted to, right? And that you bring excitement and kind of like new possibilities into their life. But they also see you as being someone a little bit mysterious and intuitive, and maybe a little bit difficult to read with the High Priestess there. So I feel like there's definitely like chemistry and intrigue, you know, so they could feel like they're drawn towards you, but like seeing that there's more beneath the surface that hasn't yet been revealed. And then with their intentions, we have the Moon and the Tower. So this is a little bit complicated, right? Because the Moon is about like uncertainty and hidden feelings and confusion and, you know, things that's not understood yet. And the Tower is like big shifts or revelations or breaking down what isn't actually sustainable. So the two of them could be that like they intend to confront truths, or like allow a situation to change significantly, but, you know, I don't know, the path isn't clear what's going to happen next. It's kind of showing that there's definitely some sort of transformation that's happening, but it's not going to be like simple and straightforward. And then the King of Pentacles and the Temperance here is their next actions. So it's very like grounded. You know, they're not acting impulsively here with the Strength card. And same as the kind of King of Pentacles. They're not the same energy, but they have that in common at least. Someone who's very stable, you know. So they're just going to be steady and mature and patient. You know, King of Pentacles is about security and consistency, and Temperance is about balance and healing. So whatever action comes, it's going to be like very thoughtful action that comes of it to bring some sort of balance and to this, either this connection or just to you right now. Maybe if you're feeling like things aren't moving forward, or maybe with whatever change that's happening, they're bringing the balance, you know. Then the blockage this week is the Page of Swords and the Three of Wands. So it seems that there's either some sort of like hesitation or like distance between the two of you. Page of Swords is usually about like watching or like analyzing or overthinking, or just kind of trying to gather information, you know. There's no action. And the Three of Wands looks towards the future and it's waiting for the right moment, you know. So it could be that there's a block that maybe you guys, or one of you or both of you, maybe are spending too much time like observing or planning, and not enough time that's actually shown in making concrete steps between the two of you. Then your Page of Cups and your Ace of Wands is your outcome. So with these, the Page of Cups is usually about like some sort of like emotional opening, you know. So it could be like a heartfelt message, or it could be like someone just expressing something emotionally, you know. And clarified by the Ace of Wands, it's also showing that it's like fresh energy or like enthusiasm or attraction again. So the outcome is kind of like about, I guess, possibility of like some sort of renewed emotional expression or a fresh start between the two of you. And it's saying that things will kind of like develop once they express their emotions, I guess, or once you express your emotions. Then the advice here is the Ten of Pentacles and Judgment. So I see that like it's kind of like telling you to, I don't know, look at the bigger picture here, you know. Ten of Pentacles is like to like, I don't know, it's like the long-term substance, you know, and don't think about like your immediate emotions, just like this was saying, you know. And I guess it's, you know, judgment is kind of like reflection and learning from the past and making decisions with clarity, you know. So I feel like the advice here is just to kind of evaluate the connection on, you know, whatever future you see with it, and showing that the actions match up to that, and still just keep open to, I don't know, growth and honesty between the two of you. Okay, so let's see here. We'll get you some oracle cards. Okay, for Leo, how does Leo feel about their person? We have finality, farewells, leave behind, and closure. Bottom of the deck, we have emotional storm, turmoil, unstable, and affected. Okay, and then let's see, what are their person's feelings for Leo? We have foundation, established family and security. And bottom of the deck, we have conflict, clashing differences and incompatibility. Okay. Then let's get some romance angels. This is for Leo. What does Leo need to know? Okay, we have, it is safe for you to love. Open your heart to give and receive the highest energy of all. We have past life relationship. You have known each other before. Let's get one more. Okay. We have playfulness, and it says to recapture romance, allow your inner youthful spirit of fun to shine. And then bottom of the deck, pay attention to the red flags, the signs are cautioning you. Okay. Then let's get some messages from your person. This is usually for people in separation, so obviously only take what resonates. Leo. We have you speak to me through music. What else? we have my life is not as together as it seems. Okay. We have we need to let each other go. And then bottom of the deck, I want to be more than friends. Okay, so with your feelings here, I see that, you know, that there could be that there's something that's, you know, that you had to walk away from, and it caused some, you know, very deep emotions in you. But it doesn't always mean that, you know, that the love has disappeared. It could mean that you could feel that you've reached a point where something has come to an end, or that there has to be a change here, you know. And you could just feel a bit exhausted from kind of carrying the emotional weight of the connection, or maybe that you just feel like letting go could be the healthiest option if you can't move things forward. You know, and with the emotional storm, it's kind of showing that, you know, this decision isn't coming from like you not having any feelings. It's coming from like some sort of strong emotions that you have, and you're hurt and confused. Maybe you're like going through some sort of grief, or just overwhelmed in general. And maybe you're just looking for closure because your feelings have become kind of too difficult to hold on to. In the same way that you have. So it could just be, you know, someone is trying to create peace after some sort of emotional turbulence, and I feel like that someone is definitely you. Then with their feelings here, we have foundation and conflict. So it's kind of like the opposite. Foundation is kind of like your four of wands there, you know. So it could be that, you know, this person connects you with, I don't know, stability and safety and long-term potential between the two of you, and just kind of wanting something lasting, or just, you know, knowing that this connection brings value between the two of you. But with conflict underneath the deck, it just shows that, you know, even with all those feelings, they also can see that there are obstacles between the two of you, you know. So there might be like disagreements, or maybe you guys are like incompatible with how you handle things, or there's some sort of like external pressures, maybe, you know, it's kind of like the Five of Wands, or just patterns that keep making it difficult to kind of build the secure relationship that they want. So I see that your person kind of still kind of like feels whatever they feel towards the connection, but that there's like conflict surrounding their feelings, you know. Then for the romance angels here, so we have it's safe for you to love. So this is, you know, about opening your heart and don't close it off completely, like with this yin in the reverse. You know, it doesn't mean obviously trust everyone, but it does mean that, you know, that you need to heal enough to be able to receive love when it is healthy and mutual, you know. With a past life relationship, you know, it could be spiritually, or could be that this is someone that you've actually had something with before, or it could just be that this person feels like very familiar, you know. So it's usually when people are, you know, just feeling like that immediate bond, you know, and that's how you feel with this person, like you guys just tie in together very nicely. Playfulness is kind of like bringing a lighter energy. So it's kind of suggesting that, you know, if communication kind of continues, like try to like ease the pressure, and, you know, if you're reconnecting with this person, maybe bring some joy into it. It would be more helpful to solve problems like piece by piece with still having some joy in the connection, you know. And then with the pay attention to the red flags at the bottom of the deck, it's just saying that, you know, just be aware of some sort of like behaviors or patterns, and, you know, even if you have deep feelings, it doesn't mean that, you know, that's going to resolve the challenges that you guys might have between each other. So, you know, if there are kind of any sort of reoccurring issues or anything like that, just pay attention to them, you know, don't just kind of brush over them and overlook them. Okay, Then you speak to me through music. Often this is, you know, about someone who listens to some music and then it reminds them of you. If you guys are together at the moment still, it's just like a song that comes on that's like, oh, this is our song, you know, like that type of energy. And then my life is not as together as it seems. It could be that they're just going through it at the moment, like things that's got nothing to do with you. You know, it could be issues at home, it could be issues at work, it could be friendship issues, family issues, whatever it is, something's going on at the moment and they're like, I just don't want to show this to people and I keep this to myself, but like I'm struggling at the moment. The we need to let each other go could be that, you know, that they do actually feel like this is something that they, you know, that they need to walk away from, or vice versa, that you're also feeling the same way. But it could also just be about we need to let the issues go. If we're going to make this work, like we've got to come into this more playful energy, you know. And then the I want to be more than friends. Obviously this person has feelings for you and they want a deeper connection with you, you know. They don't just want to be your friend. And maybe if you guys are together, it's that they acknowledge that, you know, you are their best friend, but they could not, I don't know, live without you. It's kind of cute in a way. Okay, so that's what I have for you, Leo. I hope it helped and there was a message that helped you, and I will see you guys soon. Take care.